Hey everybody, here we go. Theoretically, I got my act together. A few little technical issues today. Actually, mostly just me. I forgot to add the microphone that I need to actually speak. And then I also don't have, I don't have any chat going up, but hopefully everybody's doing well. We've been super busy and trying to get a bunch of stuff done in time for us to leave again. We have to leave pretty soon. It's still maybe a month away, I hope, but still, it's so much to do. Been trying to get folks to film. We've actually filmed a few things, but I think I mentioned it last week. Lots of people out of town or just busy, and it's been crazy. We actually filmed some other stuff too that will be coming soon, which will be cool. Let's see here. I think I'm in the wrong part of Twitch. No, I'm here. Wrong thing. Wow, I don't know what I'm doing here on this chat thing. I know I'm in the mod settings, which is not what I need. Hey, Edwin. Doing the dishes. Orlando, we want to go. Nikki, we were talking about going last year this time, late January, early February. We had tons of flights that had been booked before the pandemic and we didn't use them, and so we were supposed to be able to use them before a certain time, and then they wanted us to book specific types of flights. I can't remember what the deal was, and it was just like, well, we're not doing that. We'd like to. I mean, Nikki's never been to Disney World or any of that stuff. I don't think I've ever been to Islands of Adventure or whatever it's called, but one of these days I'll go. Hey, Joe King. No sound? Oh, maybe it was you? Okay. Yeah, I'm working on the last. I have Spider-Geddon, I think, on here, which is fine. I'm finishing that up. I kind of finished it last night. I wanted to work on Moreland, who I had been working on. I'm not 100% satisfied. Well, let's cut to the table. Let us cut to the table. Is this going to work? Nope. I've got there we go. I've got this Stream Deck, which is cool, but I don't fully know how to use all of the elements of it. Let's see. So, this is Moreland. I actually intended to do some research to find out who Moreland was, because I know nothing. But I wanted to airbrush the flames. Obviously, he's got these flame-looking eyes here that I sort of pulled off. I still need to put some gloss on the gem, but it turned out pretty good. I went in and airbrushed the coat because I'd already painted it purple. I left this unpainted, the little fold back of the flap here. And I did just a little bit of this, even though it's okay. I feel it's super bright on the original image, which is great, but I just should have gone back in and sprayed more white. I did spray white back here to then put the yellow and then the red on, red. And then I came, after I painted the orange, the yellow and the red, I came back with a little bit of orange. I don't have an orange paint. It's ridiculous. I used to have a bunch. I had 2 sets. Full sets, which was about 100 paints of stuff that I gave to a friend. One I gave to a friend, Nick. I don't know that he ended up using that much. They're actually good paints. They're not the greatest. I don't know, I can't remember who the manufacturer was, but it was a Canadian company. And they were pretty good, and I liked them. And my issue is I had bought new storage and I was kind of focusing on going to GW, Games Workshop Citadel, and I still have a lot of their stuff, but I'm like, I really don't, I'm shifting. So I got rid of all those paints, and I regret it, because I now need to get paints, and I do not know what to get. Hey, Ian, I don't know exactly, I want to try the new Army Painter paints. You know, they'll be relatively available. I mean, I still could go with Games Workshop. I have a real problem with the flip tops. They work. They do fine for certain things. Like when you want to paint directly out of the pot, it is phenomenal, right? It's the best way to do it. But be prepared, you're going to knock stuff over. So, I mean, I have these to help hold the stuff in place. Does it do these? Nope. So, you know, it's great. It holds it, it won't fall. Now, here's the deal. If you're using a standard acrylic, knocking it over is unlikely it'll spill. It's so, you know, it's thicker. The contrast paints, they're all over the place. I had a stream where somebody jokingly came in and said, oh, sorry about the, you know, hey, what do you call them? He called them cetispills. And then I immediately somehow was spilling some, right? I think it was just out of the lid. But anyway, so I worked on this. It looks cool. I'm very happy with certain elements of it. The skin is a little gray, and I wish I could recall what I did specifically for, I mean, this one looks good. Daredevil looks good. I don't know. I wish I could remember the method that I did for Black Widow, because that one's my favorite one of all of them. I believe what I did is I ended up just going back in and painting the face. Now, I'm not a huge fan of white, and I actually had a problem with when I was painting yesterday. But anyway, he turned out good. So what happened was, it's like when I was airbrushing, a little bit of, like, there was a fleck of dried paint. I do not understand that. So I peeled it off, touched up the face with the gray, and then you can see it. It's not even very visible. So I'll put some more flesh tone on it. But again, she's dark too, right? I don't want to put straight white, but I feel that that's kind of what you have to do. But this one actually turned out really cool. It's the second, not the second, it's the third one or so that I've done this much airbrush. I've done more, actually, now I think about it, but I did the Dormammu and Hela. Oh, you know, I think I did some airbrushing on Morlock too. Is he still in here? I'm not really as happy, but it's brighter at least, you know. And plus, I actually did some, you know, glazing or layering to get the, you know, the thrust off of his little floating chair here. So yeah, I don't know. It depends. Like, I've had good luck and bad luck. I think this turned out really nice. There's a little bit of like red crossing here, which I'm not really certain what I was doing. It feels like I was airbrushing and it just continued to go over there. Now, I was using my gallery, which I bought. These are actually pretty cheap right now. I think these are $89 now, and they have another version of this with just a single nozzle for like $69 plus maybe a 10% off. So these are pretty good, but I will tell you now, I feel that let me pull out the most recent Harder and Steenbeck I got. I mean, I have had so few problems with Badger, which is really the ones that I mostly have. That's the wrong latch. But this polished cup, which I really love, it's actually pretty great and cleans pretty easily. Let's look at this one here. And it's got a hard edge too. I'll have to try it out. But inside here, let's see if you can see it. This edge down here is kind of hard. Now, it looks like it would drain okay. This other one, which is a great cup, It's so polished. Now, most of the time, I guess it really doesn't matter as long as you go for a deep cleaning once in a while. But this one actually has a lip, I believe. And it's kind of a drag. Like, this is such a nicely polished cup, but they didn't mill it as well. So the good thing about the polished cup, in my opinion, is it's relatively easy to clean. Nothing really adheres, but stuff was sticking down there. And I'm nervous about chunks. Now, I don't believe that chunk that was on Captain Marvel was from the airbrush, because that's too big to be flying through the tip. But it could have come from being in the cup and me trying to clean it, or just in the spray booth. I use a little spray booth here behind me to spray inside because it's so cold. But I like this airbrush. I think it's pretty great, but I think the mechanic, the machining of the, especially at this almost the same price, they're not going to discount this one as much as the, this is the Ultra. Now, this was the more expensive one. I think it was 107 euro, or something like that, 105. They had they have a standard one, which is, I guess this is black chrome. I don't know. I've used this once. I need to use it some more. After the problems I had last night, I was like, well, I need to see what the cup's like, but ultimately it's not that great. And it doesn't, this one's friction fit, which looks like it's fine. Wow, I don't know if I did a good job cleaning that out. But it doesn't look as milled. Now, this is the budget brush, airbrush they have. This is the higher end of the budget brush, but it's nice. I don't know when they'll be available in the US easily. But I think I need to try to use it a little bit more and see what that one's like. I recommend it because there's certain elements. This piece back here is new to this airbrush. This airbrush has been around for a long time, the Ultra. But this is basically like a training thing for you to get your trigger action. So this is, if you're priming your airbrush, you pull it back this much. If you're basing it, a base color, it's a little bit less paint. Actually, is it? Yeah, it's a tiny amount. Goodness gracious, I can't even believe they have that difference in graduation. But it trains you to pull it back a specific distance, and these are for like detail levels. I feel that this one is not too far off from the base, but it does look like it's a little less. And then this is wide open. But the other aspect of this that's really fantastic is you can't just pull the trigger back. It's training you to press down and then pull, so that pressing down lets the air in through the hose here, and starts the airflow before the paint starts going, so you get less likely issues with splatter. It's a fantastic idea, and it's super helpful. And I imagine this is probably a great airbrush all the way around to just use. So I don't know. I like the gallery. This is one of the higher end ones. There's still supposedly one above this, or series coming above. This is Ace, and then I think the next one's Premium or something. I don't know. Ace, I think, is higher than Premium. But there's a even cheaper version of this that's as little as $30 right now, that doesn't have the polished cup, but everything else is about the same. So for $30, I'd say this is a pretty great airbrush. This is definitely better engineered and machined than many of the Chinese airbrushes I have purchased, because I bought one that went with my compressor. And I bought one just because, so I watch a guy, Barbados Rex, and he's great. He covers a lot of stuff, an older guy that is into Gundam and cars, but he talks about airbrushes a lot. And they actually, Gallery worked on with him and did an airbrush that was sold out immediately. It's a trigger, it's a gun, so that you pull a trigger, an arced trigger below to airbrush. I don't feel I need that. I feel it's also added weight. This is a beefy airbrush. This one is too. So these are, so maybe a gun one would be nice. Maybe a little bit more comfortable. I mean, this is, making this little claw thing over here to actually airbrush is a challenge. But I think they're both great. Definitely buy what you can afford. If you're interested in airbrush, I feel an airbrush is essential to painting. The undercoating, so I undercoated one of these I'd done beforehand, and one I did yesterday. I may start this one today, but I kind of feel like I want to put a little bit more. So I did different. So the cloak is a little different, a little more extreme on this one. It's interesting. I guess this is supposed to be here. I thought this was a manufacturing defect, but it's on both of them. Unless it's an injection point, I don't know. It's very weird. I'm like, I thought, oh, maybe he's got holes in his, but I'm like, one hole in the cape. I mean, these are made at different times. And you know, that's the that was in the stretch goal box, Moon Knight. But I did go in and try to you know, the other thing. Oh my gosh, the other thing that's really kind of important to talk about is you can see it a little bit here. I can tell. Yeah, this is definitely the newer one. The base is kind of warped, and it was massively warped. So what I did is you put it in. I microwaved like a little ramekin of water, and you put it into the ramekin and it gets the plastic soft. What it's supposed to do is snap back, like supposedly it will snap back to the shape of the mold. Like there's a lot of exterior factors that cause this problem, but I don't know what the issue was on this, because it was very bent, and so I flexed it back into place, and it was very soft. So I actually kind of held it in place. What you do once you've put it in the warm water, you hold it in place. You gotta be careful because the water should be hot, so don't burn yourself. But you put it in ice water, and then it locks it in place. And actually did a pretty great job. It's very strange how badly warped that was. The other one is Adam Warlock here, which is another one I want to work on. It is. Like the positioning is strange. Like he's very much leaning there. I don't know what the correct one is. It sits no problem. It doesn't. I mean, I have some miniatures from these guys that they're ready to topple. But anyway, that was that was the thrill from last night. And I want to actually maybe. The problem is this is not the same as this. If this is warped. And you got to be careful. So that's the other thing that happened recently, is I broke two. They fell. These are for my friend that I'm helping with. Let's see, do I have it in here? It has to be one of these. Oh, you know what? They're airbrushed over here. I think Iron Man broke. I know Iron Man broke. That's got to be over here somewhere. I also worked on Ant-Man. I'm not certain about the intensity of the. I always feel like you need to do a second Zenithal white, at least from in my perspective, or these faces. Oh, this is the Iron Man. So I had to pin this one because he completely broke off, fell and broke off. It's cold-ish here, but I was surprised that was so brittle. The other one that broke was at the ankles of somebody, but I think I was able to fix that. Like one of them broke. But the ankles are tiny, right? These are chibis. Was it Captain America? I don't know. I don't think so. But you got to be careful. I was very surprised. Where is that one at? Those are ones I just pulled out, so it's not those. But it was kind of a shock, and because these are so. Well, sort of pliable, but then as I was saying about this one, it was so rigid that I was afraid of breaking things. And at the same time, I was thinking one of these minis. At the same time, I was fixing Nikki's. So when we went to for Funko Games, which rest in peace, we went to the Funko store for a. Jurassic World event for their game that they were going to kickstart, and they had us make minis. So there's Funko Pops of ourselves, which basically you just go in and you pick the things that look most like you, and then they put it together for you, and which is awesome. So we had one for Nikki, and it looked great, and. But it's, the female figures have tiny feet. And so you can't, gosh, I'm trying to loop this microphone, this headphone wire. So they have like bases for them. I actually bought a bunch of I bought the Blade Runner ones, so it had Pris and Rachel, and they topple over all the time. Nikki's is not as bad as that, but so I fixed hers in quotation marks as well. It seemed to be pretty good, but I wonder if they're gonna just memory snap back, because they're heavy, they're top heavy, so I think that's also works against them. Anyway, so here you go. This guy's pretty much done. Turned out neat. Hey David, good luck. I hope meetings. I have we have a BGG one for Spiel on Thursday, which is good. We need to talk about it. We don't usually prepare that much in advance, although we have not been to Spiel as with a booth and things like that for a long time. That may be happening this year. That is what we're talking about. I hope it's true. It won't be the same though. We won't be streaming media. We might film things, but we will probably, there's a couple things. So anyway, yeah, I didn't paint over his vest or his cuffs. I left them as they were. As a matter of fact, same thing with his hair. It was just my airbrushing, and then I used Basilicanum Gray Thin Down to paint his hair. Now it's kind of bluish, and that may be some of the OSL. So I mean, that's exactly what's going on here, right? It's supposed to be glowing. I feel like his shoes probably shouldn't be so orange, but like the picture that I have, let's see if I can find it. Oh, that's Adam Warlock. I went, oops, Marvel United. I've saved all the photos. Let me look here. Moreland. Yeah, his shoes are pretty bright. Like, I mean, I think this back one's a little darker, maybe. So I might put a little. So I used. I put the same stuff I put on his hair, the thin down Basilicanum Gray. I put on his. I put it here, on the stone, like he's standing on some sort of structure. It's not in focus. And so to make it grayer, I put that on there as well, and it worked pretty good. So yeah, I'm very happy with the flames. I think it's great. I'm gonna have to. I need to paint. I pulled it out here. I need to paint a little bit with more black on the base, and then I'm gonna let it dry, probably till tomorrow, and then varnish it so that I can protect this one, because I think it's good. I do want to know what the story is with Moreland. I don't know. It's weird. I have issues with some of the stuff. What was the other one? I think Phoenix, Dark Phoenix or whatever here, has similar issues with, well, I mean, Iron Patriot as well. I mean, I airbrushed stuff on this one as well. It's okay. I don't know how to make that, those billowy things look. What I really need to do is go back and maybe layer some stuff on them, but I don't know if it's worth the effort. Where's Phoenix? Is it Dark Phoenix or? Goodness gracious, I can't see her. Should be super obvious because it's got stuff going on her base as well. Maybe it's not here. That would be a possibility. Oh no, there she is. It does not. Oh yeah, that's right. This is pink. I really didn't like this. Now I didn't airbrush it, and I mean I did. I undercoated it, but I didn't work on her. Whatever this pink energy stuff is, it looks kind of. I could probably. So the other thing I did is I actually used for the first time Silly Putty as a masking, and boy are people right. It's pretty great. It doesn't stick. This is old. Like I think this is a promo of some sort that Nikki had, and I said, "Oh, I need to get some Silly Putty," and she's like, "Oh, I've got Silly Putty. You gave me this and this." And the funny thing is, I had given her. She had her old Silly Putty egg with the the flesh-colored Silly Putty, and then I had given her one with paint orange. I'm like, really? I gave you orange? And then the one we got here that was like some sort of promo. I don't even know if this company still exists. Had a whole thing of it and we never used it. And so what I could do is just protect her and then go back in and airbrush this. But I don't know that it's worth it. She's neat though. Her face turned out cool. I like her eyes. I noticed I have to finish. I think I did the eyes on the original one. Black Widow, but this one is still, there's still white, so I need to fit. I think I painted the whites recently, so anyway, let's get to it. But the Silly Putty works pretty great. It doesn't stick really well. It sticks well enough, and it didn't leave any residue that I could tell. I actually put it all along this edge of the cloak here on his jacket, excuse me, and I put it all along this edge and then sprayed all that without any brain damage, so I was very happy. Why is my phone buzzing? But I'm looking forward to trying some of these other ones. I have, as I said, I'm painting some for a friend, so that's quite a few minis. So what I'm going to do from now on is, if I have them that I haven't painted, I will paint them simultaneously, and we'll see how that goes. I've had this obsession with doing things more than one at a time, and I've done okay with like orcs and these Votan that I did. I didn't get all of them done, but I was doing like, I'd focus on the orange, and then the blue, you know, I mean, the face, and each element together, I'd go through and do them all, which is great. If you're doing lots of stuff, it's helpful. But I've always wondered how, like, these are identical, right? So how much can I get them to look alike? Probably not that much. It's funny how when you try to do that, it doesn't really work out. I did, back in college, I painted a project that was airbrushed, and I was trying to do two identical paintings, almost, essentially. They were going to be mostly the same. And I never finished it because I just couldn't get it close enough, in my opinion. I am running into the airbrushes down here. Let me just count real quick how many airbrushes I have. I have too many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my gosh, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Hey, 15, 17 airbrushes. I do not need to buy any more airbrushes. I need to set a new alarm. I am trying to do something every single day, and 11 is the time, but it doesn't work great when it's when we're streaming. So let me put one here. I've got all these times for like when I am leaving for a flight. So I set it for 3 hours from now. Let's see if that works. Let's see, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm having fun. Now, again, this is another. This is my third. I keep having a hard time with Black Widow. I keep wanting to call her Red something or other. I don't know why. What is the name of her father in quotation marks? Red. I mean, from the movie. I don't know the comics basically at all. Let's see. One for each paint color. I wish that I really, we need a better a hobby store nearby. I keep wanting to order, like, I really like Pro Acro's paints. I bought I got 20 bottles. I don't know, let's see, 16, yeah, about 20 bottles of paint. But not many of their standard paints. I have 21 bottles. No, that's 20 bottles. No, I guess there's one more missing here. So I think I have white, black, should be one other one here. Anyway, they're great. I like their paints a lot. They come with a lot of paint, which is fantastic. This is getting low. 22 milliliters is pretty good, you know. Let's see, what's GW's, the standard ones are like 12, so you get 10 milliliters more, probably for less money, or about the same money. Vallejo is, this is an old bottle, 17 milliliters. They may be different. Let's see what this one says. 18 milliliters, so that's probably more common one. What's this one say? 17, yeah, so I don't know. I want to get more paints, but we don't have any stores close by that carry this. I bought a lot of this stuff mostly online. But I also bought a lot of it from a local store in Dallas. Common Ground is just great. They have just a lot of stock. They have the Duncan Rhodes tooth and coats. They've got Army Painter. They've got GW, of course, and others. I think they have the D&D ones from Vallejo, you know, those smaller bottle ones, which is cool. I actually kind of, if those were more readily available and they were the new formulations of Vallejo, I'd probably buy those for certain colors that I just know I'm not going to use that much. But I was going to do this black. We have one store nearby, sort of nearby, called Geeky Tees. They're great. They're in Burbank. They're just not that close. Wow, I did not clean this brush last night. I did go pretty late, so I probably made a mistake there. Anyway, they're great. They're just not that close, and they don't have a massive selection. They do have Army Painter, GW, and Duncan Rhodes. Some of the stuff, right? Duncan Rhodes does not have a lot of stuff yet because it's still like the first phase of paints available, at least in our stores. Anything around me, and I would like to try those. There's supposedly a great yellow wash that is very much like an old GW one that he has, or they have. But I just wish we had an Army Painter. The nearest one we have, store that carries Army Painter, is in Pasadena, which is not close. Nikki, I was talking to her about it this morning. She's like, well, let's figure out a reason to go out to Pasadena, which I agree with, but hey, making a mess here. But I would like it now. My issue is I just don't want to order 20 paints. Like, the thing is, if I'm going to spend shipping and go through that, and you actually, Pro Acro will give you bundle pricing, so I think you have to buy 8 bottles of paint, which isn't unheard of, but I just don't need tons of paint. Part of me is hopeful that the Army Painter paints are as cool as people are saying. None of them are saying it's like the greatest, you know, it's not the greatest paint ever made, but many of the things that I just thought would be a problem sort of aren't. One of the ones is, I think the triad system is kind of cool, but it focuses so much on you know, you get 6 colors of a blue, and they're not the same color, you know, they just go together. They're meant to be the lightest to the darkest shade of that color, so that when you paint them, you can do shading and stuff very simply, which is great. But like, my concern just looking at the color mix was like brown didn't seem to be that great, and maybe purple, and that was, I think Ninjon had a comment like that it wasn't, not enough brown, or not enough, maybe it wasn't Ninjon, it was somebody saying there wasn't enough replacements to match, you know, not replacements, but matches for the GW colors. You know, GW has a lot of colors. That's, it's pretty great. I wish that besides, I mean, I don't know, like I used, I believe, the Avalon Sunset on those, I should just buy a bottle of it and find out, but I think I used Avalon Sunset on this edging, but it does not look the same as the pictures I have been seeing. Now again, this is just the edge, so it may be exactly that color, but it looked much more muddy than the bottle. Now, Sebastian, like I've said before, is great about just like, he buys stuff on eBay sometimes where it's some minis and there'll be paints in there, and he'll just, unless it's completely dried solid, he will revitalize that paint and use it, which is great. Like, why waste this stuff? That is really the biggest problem with GW, is that the lids are just hard to keep free of crap that will, you can see there's a bunch underneath here. Now this is a thinner paint, so it's not like acrylics, but it keeps it free of that stuff, so you can actually it doesn't keep it free, so you can't seal it cleanly. So I end up using, what am I knocking down here? Oh wow, that's still open. I thought I clipped it. I have this like needle, these, I can't remember what these came with. I feel they came with something. Maybe they were, I don't know, maybe I more of them. I bought a set of something, maybe that's what it is. But I use these to pull the paint out of the nozzles, out of the top, so that I can seal it as best I can. Most of the time it's not that big of a deal. Like I've had bottles that were not sealed enough and they didn't really dry much. I left this bottle of, and you can see it's thicker, of technical contrast medium. Oh, I left it open enough for like a week. Didn't even realize I didn't come back out here and paint. And I'm still using it, but it's specific purposes. I feel it's a little too shiny. But it's a bummer. You definitely don't want to waste this stuff because it's expensive, but it's also just, you know, more plastics essentially, resins and stuff that we don't need in the landfills. I mean, obviously, eventually all this crud is going to end up in landfill, but at least if we can get some enjoyment out of it. So let's see here. That is drying. I believe this is done. The red scarlet spider, I guess. I want to call everything red today. I really need to figure out what I'm going to do with this. I forgot to prime it. Although I may do my dry brush priming again that I did on the one for, you can see here that I touched it or something. Actually, let's just touch that up with a little bit of black. I haven't done almost no painting today so far. I put an army painter undercoat as well, see if they compare and as I brush them on. So yeah, I've heard they're okay. 60 milliliters is not too bad. What is this bottle size? This is 100 milliliters. It's another bottle from Army Painter. And then this is, so the one in Pasadena actually carries some AK Interactive. I got these actually from a hobby store in Burbank. They're pretty great, but they don't have as much, well, I'm not seeing it, fluid ounces or whatever, milliliters. It's probably underneath this sticker. They, oh, hey, here's one that doesn't have it on there. Hey, but it's on the top part of the sticker. Let's just see if I can peel this off. They don't have any of the, like the miniature, much of the miniature painting style stuff. They have Vallejo and they have, I don't even know if they have Game Color. But they have stuff and I go there occasionally. Well, I don't see it. Anyway, but yeah, I have a lot of different paints. I just don't have a lot of, so I've shown these before, but I don't have an orange of these nitros, which I believe, I'm pretty darn sure they're made by HMG, the British company, because they are made in Great Britain. This is a Swedish company that doesn't do this stuff anymore. It's an okay yellow. I mean, yellows are bad. They're hard to do well. That's one reason why I kind of want to try the Army Painter stuff, because they say they have 300 to 700 times the pigment that, I don't know if they're talking about all of theirs, but maybe just their older paints, because people don't really care for their older paints. I mean, I really love their washes. I think they made, or what do they call them? I just had one here. They are washes. It's a terrible thing at the bottom. Strong Tone is like one that I really love. I thought they were really good, and they thought they did a very good job versus the GW ones. And the GW ones have changed. So I think ultimately I would prefer to, wow, this kind of looks terrible. You may not be able to see it, but it's not a very good undercoat for some reason. Cool. I am not painting another Iron Man right now. Goodness, I've painted enough Iron Man for a little while. Let's see here. Who should I work on? I don't know any of these really. I need to actually, I have this huge folder of stuff from the first Marvel United set. So I save all the images because they're great. It's good reference, and I don't, the old ones are bad. The first run did not have any back shots of the backside of the character, which, you know, do they need it? But it was frustrating for me because I just had to guess, you know, wow, his stuff is different. He has got like red and gold cape. How much illumination do I have underneath here? Not a ton. Not a ton. Huh. Well, I could paint it. I'm very nervous about. The whites are just not my friend lately. But it looks like his cape is red. He's got a little skull. Well, I'm just going to go for it. Like, you wouldn't see it. Now, I could do what they've done, where they have like a shadow cast upon his cape, a bit of his body. So I could always do that and make a lighter edge. So let's start with a yellow. I think I will use one of the new Imperial Fist. It's a pretty great yellow. I really would like to get, I mean, that's the downer. I want to get the speed paints to try some of those. I really like the GW ones very, very much. They're mostly, they become the paints that I use the most. I actually saw a little interview with, I've highlighted minis and turned into a new base coat. Very annoying. Yes, I have that problem too, Edwin. Mostly I'm using now mediums. So I have the Lamian medium, which is thin. It extends the dry time a little bit, and then I started also with this in Pro Acryl. I haven't got it mastered. I don't know if I'll ever get it mastered, but I haven't got it figured out yet. I bought this in Dallas too, because we just don't have a store nearby. And it was going to be $20-something to buy. Does it have the sticker on here? Yeah, $16. I was like, I would save $8. You know, it was going to be over $20 to use it. So anyway. But yeah, the other thing is water works, but you need something to help hold the paint together as it gets thinner, right? And so I believe some of these companies, you know, Lamian Medium's a medium that does that, but like Speed Paint Medium, Contrast Medium, excuse me, Speed Paint Medium, there's one of those too. This is the paint without the color. So it dilutes it and still keeps the properties of the paint. It lessens the intensity of the color, let's say it that way. It's not that, let me see, how should I say that? It lessens the intensity. It's the surface tension in particular that is really kind of important, that it keeps the ability to cover the same, which is fantastic. So let's see here. Let's try this yellow. I've used it on something. I might be making a mistake. So it's definitely going to be a different intensity, right? It's because of it's not enough. I did not look at, you really should look at the photo before you undercoat. If you're going to do like what I'm doing, which is the zenithal stuff. Just to look at where you should put the bright components. I guess I need to be on the table here for you to see this. Aye. Dang it. I don't want it on the, yellow's great too. It does a great job of covering. So, I mean, not covering, but staining. Covering is the opaqueness of it for me anyway. Yeah, you should look at it so that you can highlight stuff. You can do this all after you've airbrushed. It doesn't have to be the same time all at once, but it's nice to do the undercoat and have it be what you need. Wow, this is not focusing. You know, it's this thing. I like having it here, but it is really distracts from the focus. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. 60 milliliters is a lot of paint, though. I would really, I mean, you know, I've used those back when it was even harder to find model paints. I used Deco Arts or Deca, I can't remember the name of that company. They're in like Michael's. I think they're still around. And their paints are okay. Not great. Mostly the ones that I used were the Citadel paints when I could get them. And Citadel, obviously testers when I was young. Hilariously, I think I used some of the black as the primer back in the day. You know, the craft art stuff, like Deca or right on his staff. What is the staff? That's wood. Or at least wood colored. But I will clean off what I can. Q-tip. Where is the Q-tip? That's doing it, as long as it doesn't get on. Although the suit, well, that's red. Again, it won't be too bad if there's a little bit of... Okay, there's one. Let's do the other one. Let's see if this experiment works. It won't. It'll be close, but it won't be exactly the same. This is going to be actually nicer because I think there's a... This is my friend's. I did a better job, I think, of undercoating. I end up always giving my friends the better paint job one. I don't really care that much. I want them to look nice, but I don't feel it's that big of a deal. I did not do a very good job of cleaning that cape right there, though. The shading does a nice job, though, I'll tell you. It does look good, and this color is pretty great. I mean, comparing it here. You know, this is going to be much darker here. This will be brighter. We did have an earthquake on Friday. It wasn't too crazy, but it was... the crazy part, now what's going on here? Is this not touching that? Wow, it is far away. Look at that. These are different. Wow, is it supposed to be stuck in there? I don't think so. Wow. See, that's how the molds come out. I think that's kind of weird. I didn't even notice that. Now, I prime these at different times, but... That is very strange. I mean, you know, it's a different kind of plastic. This is actually the first phase. They changed their plastic in the more, I think X-Men was the first one. And then I think all their stuff is changing the plastic. I'm not a huge fan of the soft plastic. You can't get it to Wow, I'm really making a mess here on the, I really don't want too much on it. Now, again, it's in the lower part. Ooh, I think there's, oh, it's because the water's yellowy. Hello, come out of there. Okay. So I said this is theirs, but maybe if this is a better paint job, I mean, if it's not the better paint job, they'll get the other one. But I didn't do a great job of cleaning it. It's hard. I don't, wow, look at that. It's all over my hand. Yellow does a great job of staining, as I said. I definitely try to, you know, I want them to be happy. I'm not really that concerned about it. Wow, I got this yellow everywhere. I don't want it touching the minis. I actually think I need some alcohol. Although it really dries my skin out. It's so funny, it really is like a stain. It is not coming off easily. But I handle these so much that, I mean, once it dries, it doesn't matter, it's not gonna get on there, but it may dry quickly, who knows? So, let's see here. Am I doing terribly? I saw that one of the channels I like to watch is the Painting Phase, and Peachy was a Games Workshop presenter, and he's leaving. I think my take on it is he's probably leaving because he just wants to focus on the painting of minis. They had things like they did, wow, where does that go on his arm? Interesting. Anyway, they had things where they were discussions and stuff like that, and those were fun. But they're for me they were a little too long. But his new channel is called Peachy's Tips, and it doesn't have any videos yet. Just a little introductory thing that he's going to be doing stuff. I hope he does fine with it. You know, his. Patrick is the producer of the stuff over on Painting Phase and one of the hosts. And he's just, you know, he's a videographer. So he has, photographer and videographer. So he has good skills. So it's going to suck though, because I thought they were pretty great as the three of them. Patrick was always mostly off camera because he was producing while they were filming. But I kind of wish he had been part of the three of them. I just don't, they changed to a dedicated studio. I guess Peachy's not going to have that because he said he'll miss having a studio. Oh wow, there's yellow in his collar too. Oof. Okay. But I do like his painting. I think he and Duncan were fantastic on Games Workshop Television or whatever it is, Warhammer TV. Or any YouTube. I think what happened is Duncan went to, I think he maybe left before they started doing Warhammer Plus, and did his own thing. He's doing his own thing, which those are great. But Peachy stayed on the YouTube while they had others as hosts on Warhammer Plus. And I never subscribed, so I don't really know what Warhammer Plus was like. I've seen some videos from it. Suggs, Louise Sedgen has her channel, Rogue Hobbies. She does one video every week or two, every 2 weeks or 2 weeks to a month. So she's not as prolific content-wise. Now, you know, if you're painting stuff, you can't. It's hard. I mean, you got to be really good and consistent to put out. I mean, these folks that do stuff all the time, you know, that's how you get faster if you paint all the time. It definitely helps. Boy, his face is very different from the one that they did. The 3D model is different too. So it does show it going up into the cape, into the, the cape more, sort of on the, wow, the staff is below the sweep and kind of at the same plane on this one. That is very weird. That yellow is pretty great though. So let's try, oh, I gotta do the collar on this one too. Agreed, and now I'll have to watch Painting Face and PT and Rogue Hobbies, of course. Yeah, Rogue Hobbies is good though. I like, at least her stuff is fun. I watched one yesterday that she did for Epic, where she was painting tiny space marines, which was fun. I like her stuff. I just wish that she would paint more. I mean, it's like she's really talented. But yeah, I didn't realize how many videos that they had done on the Painting Face. They had been doing it for a little while before Peachy joined. But I had missed a couple. Last night while I was painting, I watched a few that I hadn't seen, which, I mean, there's many I haven't seen. I don't watch all the conversations. I just, they're too long, and for me, the accents are a little tough sometimes. I'm actually really, I feel decent at filtering through accents, but goodness gracious. And Louise is Scottish, and I have no problem, well, basically no problem with hers, which is, you know, odd considering how hard how strong Scottish accents can be. But whatever. It's cool. There's so much content. I haven't been watching. I used to watch during the pandemic. Well, before the pandemic, I found Midwinter Minis, which I like his stuff, but I just haven't watched his stuff as much recently. And that's what's fun about his show and Louise Suggs, Rogue Hobbies. They do their own music, which is awesome. But yeah, it was interesting. That and Squidmar were ones that I watched either right at the beginning of the pandemic or before a little bit. I believe Midwinter was before. I know it was before, and I think I don't know. I feel like I was watching Squidmar too, because when I started watching, he had like 4,000 followers, or 4,500 followers. You know, those guys are now on hundreds of thousands of subscribers, which is pretty awesome. You know, that was like the perfect time for that. Like, people had the time to actually pay attention and start doing it. Look at that, something on his leg here. Something that got there, and it stuck on there enough, but you can see the blue beneath. That's going to be black, so I don't think it matters. His hair is going to be a difference. I've never really painted blonde very well. Well, I've never really painted a lot of blonde, and I want to do his hair blonde, so I'm going to have to figure that out. You use like a golden color, not a yellow, but like I almost feel like it needs to be a true, well, I mean, maybe. I don't know if this is it though. Maybe. That could be a starting one. It looks a little yellow. Maybe this Nasdrag yellow. That's very brown. But if I thin it down a bit, maybe. Yeah, the skin is very, very gray. I gotta figure that out. And there's some splotchiness there. Now I think it might have been a little bit too strong, the skin color. Like, I layer it better and it does a better job. Wow, that dried already again so fast. It is much darker, although they're not that bad. Wow, his chin is even like tilted up more. What a weird deal. So, you know, these are put together with components. They're not one solid piece. Well, I got some on his, it's okay, it'll be brown. And I could also just touch it up with a little bit of gray. But yeah, they're components, like the arms are added. Like, I think they're in different positions here. One is a little bit higher up. So these are like glued on. You know, it doesn't come out of the mold in one piece. So I'm sure that's part of the issue. And the head is probably a separate component as well, but he seems a little shorter. Oh well. I am not certain. So let's do some red. I think it looks like, I mean, I've been using this red ball red so much, but I think that's what I'm going to use again. It's dark enough that it will probably get a little bit of a burgundy tone. I kept trying to paint a blonde once, she kept running away from the paintbrush. Chris, that's not what I'm talking about. I hope you're doing well. Hopefully we'll see you in April. Okay, let's close this red, or yellow, excuse me. See, the back end is not closing. It barely used this paint. I don't get it. There's stuff stuck in there. I have to deal with that later. Yeah, this is the thing. I mean, of course, why would they care? You know, if your paint's dry, you got to buy more. But it's not even that. I just don't want to spill them. You know, I mean, there's many things. I don't want to waste the paint. It's not cheap. And I don't know. Both of these brushes need to be cleaned. Let's do that now. We should go for the Eclipse too. So we're gonna go, Chris, we're going to Dallas first. Oh wow, there's a lot of, man, yellow paint on my hand again. We're gonna go to Dallas. The Eclipse is visible there as well. So we're gonna go before that and then go to Niagara. So we're talking about the Gathering of Friends, which is a con in, actually in Niagara Falls. It's fun, but it's long. We'll be only there a week this time. It's funny, I mean, it's all because of my problems with not booking hotels soon enough, but we usually go for like basically the whole time, but did we have that problem last year? Something, oh, you know what, Scott, I think last year didn't have the hotel room. And so we went, I think on time, but we left on Friday, the following Friday. So we were there a week. We're basically doing the same thing Saturday this time, but I thought I had the room, but I did not. And so it was going to be Sunday, and as I'm booking it, it's letting me, it says extend your stay. And so it let me go to Saturday, which was better. I mean, Scott, he would prefer to be there for the whole thing. But yeah, I was talking about Peachy. I knew there was something up because it was like he was not there as much, and they were taking time. So he might have like let them know that he was going to move on, because they were not putting out some of his stuff as consistently. And I saw Patrick was doing some painting with doing some airbrushing and stuff, trying some techniques to paint some specific Marines, which is cool. I just am not a wow, that was really bad on that brush. Let me make sure those are clean. The bad thing about using two of the same color brush, I can't tell which is the active brush. One of them usually just has water in it. But yeah, it's a bummer. Okay. It's gonna be real dark. So I don't normally go straight on with the full intensity color, but like this is the color, so I figure I should be able to make it work. But I feel like it's almost better to, and I might be making the mistake I probably should have, to creep up on the color, like to keep adding to it to get, wow, this is really dry or whatever is going on here, and not Lots of bubbles because I just mixed it up, which you really kind of, you want to apply it wet. And that's one of the benefits of using a contrast medium. You're applying it wet, but you're not putting too much intensity of the color. This here, it's a lot of color on because I have to keep it wet as I'm applying it. It's already drying very quickly. It's really kind of dark. Now you can do, I think I mentioned it last week, I watched Vincent Venturella do he was experimenting with the new, I think he was using the new fluorescent color. Well, I don't know when this video came out, but it wasn't too long ago. The fluorescent colors from Pro Acryl. And he was doing a cape. You know, he's a great painter, so I cannot compare myself. But he was doing a great job of changing the color and, you know, putting some of the fluorescent color on the cape and just quickly like re-blending it all just beautifully. I wish I was that skilled. I mean, I got to give myself some credit. It's not that hard. I've done okay, but I'm definitely not as good as Vince. So it's like he's wearing like long gloves on the in the picture. So I'm not really, there is no dividing line on the model itself. But it was this red that spilled out. I feel it spilled out from the lid. And not only is it frustrating to lose the paint, but it's also just a mess. Like red is another trying to touch it. Another one that stains really well. Huh. That did it. Hey, hello. Hello from Germany. Hermel, how you doing? And Go For It Painting. Hey, how you doing? I'm trying to get these to go similarly. I'm doing two of the same miniature. They are not the same though. Ultimately, we're comparing here. There's differences in the sculpt. Now, again, they come out in multiple pieces and they put them together, but these are not the same. Surprisingly so. They're a little bit different. Still more red to paint here. You can see, you got to get on it. At least it's on the edge, and it is the same intensity, so it should. These are not. This is a contrast paint, but it's a single pigment paint, so it won't have the shading stuff. Mostly, this is beneficial, I think. The undercoating is really what helps this one. The zenithal undercoating. Oof. Mm. Now this isn't going to be that visible, so I do want the edge to be as clean as possible, but I'm not sweating the coverage as much. Did I touch his thumb? I did not. Not yet anyway. I know how this works. I know how this works. A little bit on the edge, which I don't necessarily want. That's fine. A little, well, I'm getting cotton caught on it here. I got yellow on the, it's a blue swirl, so it's some sort of a, I don't know, I've watched, I think that, I'm pretty certain that that is the guy from, I think, I keep saying, sure, I'm think, but from Guardians 2 and 3 was Adam Warlock, I believe. Though he's all golden, so maybe not. I thought it was, though. I thought they said that. Ugh, that is a mess. The nice thing about the contrast paints is they're more, ugh, I just got it on his shirt, which is black, but I still would prefer to get most of that on. Wow, this is such a bright color. It really is coming out completely, dirties up the water real fast. Wow, that was a lot of paint because it came off with a bunch here. The good thing is it's, as I said, it will be black, so it's not going to be that big of a deal. But I don't, the black is not completely opaque, right? It seems like it is, but with these paints, they're not. So you kind of want to have a little bit of a, as clean as you can get it. Oof. Wow, I'm making a mess. Now I'm getting it out towards where I don't want it to be visible at all. Although there will be red here. I will let that dry. Well, no, I could probably touch up that little bit that's not finished, but a lot of paint went into that fold. So these are seams here. There's this arm is going up in here, and I honestly think some of the paint got up into the crease, the seam, and it you can see. Come on, focus. Right here, there's a you know, the arm is put on. I basically should put on filler like a epoxy putty or something, but I'm not too worried about it. I'm basically competing with, you know, board game miniatures, not Games Workshop. This is very McDonald's. I'm not sure about this. It looks like this comes around. This is a different model. This is not the same. I'm looking at the original, the photo of the Mini. Okay. Skull, and then I think well, I should do the red. I should figure out where it is. It really looks like there's a visible seam on the original miniature. So I will make an arbitrary seam. The good thing is if it's not perfect, the black will do an okay job of covering up that. You know, like if I don't have it, the brush strokes are a little too brushy or whatever, the black will do a good job of covering that up. A good job. Again, like I said, it's not really black, solid black. Although the blacks are bolder and more solid color than a lot of these others. His hands are red. I can't remember at the end of Guardians 3 if it is indeed Adam Warlock, if he was one of the new Guardians, because I think whatever the heck, the main lady's, I think she died. I don't remember. It's Nikki did not. She liked the movie, but she, you know, the animal stuff, which is important. You know, it's an important thing what they're doing there, is too rough for her. She's such an animal lover. She couldn't take it. And I bought the discs, as is per usual for me. And I don't think we watched it on there. I did watch it on Netflix, and I think I showed my mom because she mostly enjoyed those shows. But I don't know how she felt about the animal, the cruelty of the one character. I don't think I met the two very well here underneath. Wow, this is such a weird angle. What is that? Is that the needle? I have like a mixing needle. I think that's what this is. Yes, I made a little hook of a very old needle that I had. I was always keeping that stuff for like poking at things or whatever with an airbrush. It really is McDonald's. Goodness gracious, hopefully the black will help. That'll be Germany now, next, which is fine. Woof. So this one will not get painted all the way around because it's not even visible. I'll do my best here. But I don't feel you should really go too crazy because it ends up not being visible and only you know that it was painted. I mean, you might have one person that'll really peek at the whole thing, but most people won't. I mean, when it's in the shadows, it's generally so dark you're not going to see stuff anyway in real life, so unless you're really in there, then you might notice that it's the dark, much darker red or whatever, because you don't have the light. So having used this GW mini holder that just popped off here, that's one thing I will say. I'm nervous about these minis. The bases are not very strong plastic. So I end up putting it in the top one, and I honestly feel it should be in this one. As I dropped it again. Let's see here if I can do it in there. I like handling these more. Wow. But the jaws, like, because I feel this is much easier for me to turn around in my hand and do the stuff that I've been doing. But I've had them bend these bases, these CMON Marvel United bases, and I'm nervous about that. Like, I definitely don't want them to break, especially now that I've had a few that have broken. So I don't know. I'm hoping the new plastics, I'm pretty certain the one that broke, I know the ones that broke were from the first set. Because it was definitely, I don't know though, the second one I feel, have to look. Oh, you know, it could be one that I painted already. Let me look. Oh, this dries for, well, let me finish this. I need to paint the other ones red stuff too. As boots are red too, goodness gracious. Wow. So I hear something, somebody's following us. Thank you so much for the follow. Maybe I'll see it pop up here. Maybe you'll say something. I don't know, why don't I see it on the stream? I did test it earlier. Hey, another thing. Wow, let me go just to the stream elements and see here. Wow, that is really kind of crackly noising here, at least on my end. Anyway, thank you so much for the follow. Let's see if this shows up here. Nope, I don't get it. Who knows, it could be something else triggering it. Anyway, hopefully somebody's following us. So we were flying into Dallas before the eclipse, and you know, we didn't book it earlier. We should have, but because so many people are going to the path of the eclipse, it's so expensive to fly in. Thankfully, we don't need a hotel room, but yipes. But people travel around to do that. So there's a hook on this brush. I shouldn't be using this brush anyway. This should be a cleanup brush. Oh, these are fine. I like these brushes though, but this definitely has a hook. Let me, first of all, is wipe as much off onto paper before I put it into the water, because yow, it'll make it real red. Still pretty red. Let me clean it real fast. This will be my cleanup brush, and I'll use one of the Sax brushes I bought recently, which are cool. I think they're good. What did I do with the soap? I was cleaning my fingers with it. There it is, underneath the napkin. Let me close that for a moment. Looks like Kansas City Chiefs. Yeah, no kidding. I didn't see that earlier. I did not watch the football game. I haven't watched the Super Bowl in a long time. I don't think I watched it the last time. Our friend used to have a party, and he would have us bring computers over to do LAN gaming during the, wow, I don't like that orange and red. I'll have to figure something. Might be doing, yellow and red. It's very McDonald's. But anyway, we would bring we'd bring computers, and he'd have his, and we would have, so kids could play LAN gaming or whatever, which was fun. But we hadn't, I'll tell you the last one we went to, oh my gosh, now I think about it. The last one we went to was with the wardrobe malfunction. So that was like 2003 or 4, I imagine. I feel it must have been 3, right? Because I don't know when that album came out, the Justin Timberlake one. Let me look it up. But yeah, crazy. Why is that not focusing? What's it focusing on? I guess it's on the table. Derek's having a problem. I was going to use this brush or this brush. I think they're almost identical. The one is a little bigger though. Okay. And I close the bottle. We are like 30, 45 minutes from the eclipse path. Oh, in Houston? I'm not sure what Dallas, Jeff Anderson claims it directly over his house. So we probably will try to be in this. That's why we're going. We come in on Sunday, I think. Going early to do that. It'd be fun. I don't think I've ever seen a total eclipse. I've heard a total eclipse of my heart, but this just looks silly. But I will tell you, I'd rather paint this than the entire gold if that's what he is, if that's the character from Guardians of the Galaxy, because yipes. Although I suppose if you just painted him gold, like it was kind of a, I don't know, it was gold. And then inked him, he'd, or something, it'd probably be pretty good. Huh. I keep hearing it, but I don't see it. Well, anyway, thanks for the follow. Very weird. Or something is triggering it. That's certainly possible. Anyway. Oh no, there we go. Great, gracious. Okay, Zero Bahamut Mood 81 and Rusty Froggy. Thanks for the follows. Sorry I didn't see those pop up. Turn around, bright eyes. That is correct. We were listening to something, and I was confusing her with Bonnie Tyler with Kim Carnes, I think. Which is weird that I don't really remember. I was never that big of a fan of those songs. But as soon as we made the connection, I'm like, oh, that's right. They're not the same kind of singer. It's crazy. So I must have done just a different kind of a undercoating on Daredevil, but I'm really happy with the way the red turned out on him. So it must have been just whiter. Like, it's similar. It's definitely brighter. Like, I put more effort on his head like I normally do. And this looks pretty good back here. I might do some shading to make it a little stronger. So I've mentioned this before. One of the things I sometimes do is varnish. So, you know, I'm sort of working inside out here, right? These feet are going inside these swirls. But it makes it easier so you can clean up your mess. Like, it's, with contrast paints, it's not as simple. Like, if you're an established painter, I don't know that contrast paints are a pretty cool tool. I'm just making, you know, I'm kind of buying into the GW line that these are good ways to get started painting. And I think, you know, I'm making it harder than it actually is. You can just undercoat these white and then put the paints on and see how it goes, right? It would look pretty good. I've done minis that way with the contrast paints. I do love the zenithal highlighting. I think it does a good job of, particularly with certain colors, right? Like, this looks pretty good. I mean, it's there's a spot I missed there. But I like doing it with these. I think they're pretty great. I've done, you know, like on Superior Spider-Man, I can't remember what this one's called. You know, this one looks pretty cool. I ended up doing some highlighting with a transparent orange, which is this color here, on the red to make it brighter on the top. You know, I could go in and do some, and I might. I have not, did I varnish this one? I can't remember. Doesn't matter. You can paint over the varnish. I was saying that a minute ago. Wow, it really is McDonald's. I really hope the black helps. Maybe I'll do, like, like I said, there was a shadow. But my gosh, it really needs it. Can't see in there, but if I can't see it, then others can't as well, so I'm not going to worry about that boot anymore, or I'll just make a mess, because this red is messy. Now this is going to be messy here probably. Let's hope I can pull it off. But yeah, we didn't watch the game. I used to love all that. Oh, I was going to look up when the wardrobe malfunction was. Maybe it was 2004. I don't watch any of that stuff. I used to watch the Oscars. I don't watch that anymore. I basically don't really love awards. Ugh, trying to make a mess here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be black. Deborah does not, she's saying something, she doesn't care for the pajama uniforms. I think she liked the more homemade aspect of Daredevil's outfit in the earlier season, or the first season probably. I have not watched that show. I need to watch it. But I'm looking at like tights. It looks like tights, you know, on his. Here I'm painting that red again on the other side. I should not focus on that. Contrast paints are great because for me, they stay wet on the brush longer. I'm sure most people feel the same way about it as far as whether that's a good or a bad thing, but standard acrylics dry so quickly for me. So I use things like, you can't really use them on here anyway, it probably already has something like it in it, but I use retarder, which also slows down the dry time, which isn't always great, but it allows for blending, which I do like to do. I think I have a retarder from, I know it is, it's from, here it is. I really need this in another spot. This is another giant bottle of 4 fluid ounces or 118 milliliters from Golden. It works great, but it doesn't, I mean, I could probably try to use it on the contrast paints, but I don't feel I need it. And it may mess up the contrast paints. Ish, I just got it on there. Let me see if I can get that off. I haven't even touched the other one's red yet. Atom 2s, 1 Atom 2. That did it. Again, it's gonna be blue. It probably won't even be noticeable. Oh, I got it. Oh no, that's his leg. Okay, I can calm down. Oi, clumsy. Yeah, you have to let it dry for a while. This is not clean enough. Too much dried red in it. You have to wait quite a bit for the paint to dry when you make a correction like this, which is not smart. Oh man, McDonald's. No like. Let me get back to the image and see. I don't know. They do a wonderful job. These are painted with traditional paints and they look great. I'm just don't have the patience for that all the time. And I'm trying to do a lot of minis. I would really, my dream is to be done with these in time for the new stuff to come later this year, hopefully in June. I think I saw a more optimistic update. I was saddened because I don't want them till then. Because I think they're originally going to come in March, which there's no way I would be done with these by then. It's just too many to paint. That is just water. There's not enough paint. Not good. Does that mean that there was too much? It's possible. There might have been too much in the cleanup, so it's still there. I also just like buying paints from the local stores. I like seeing it. We have another little game store nearby. They have some GW stuff. And I'll go and I'll buy, I buy something whenever I go to a store. You know, I want them to stick around. We really need the game stores. We just have so many that have folded over time here. It really doesn't need to be too strong here. It's not going to be very visible. I think I got too much in the, like in the fold there, in the crease, whatever. Let's see if I can wick it up. Sure did. Oh, but you know, it's watery, so that's what the deal is. I did not realize that was happening. Now I'm going to paint that something dark later, so Okay, is that all the red? Did I do enough of the red here? Can't look through his cape. Oh no, there's a whole bunch on the backside of his calf here that I did not do. Boy, that is a challenge to get in there. Basically, probably should, let me clean the brush and just have it on the very tip of it so that I can get in there without hopefully getting it too much on the blue swirl that I'm gonna have to also try to paint. I won't have to reach in there as deeply though, so. I feel like that's too much paint still. Oof. Wow. So there's, you know, this is one of the things about painting minis. Like when you, if you can assemble, you can paint some of the things, like you can build them in sections and then paint them before you put it together. You probably have a better shot of like getting cleaner coverage, you know, and not too much overlap and stuff like that. Now, I'm going to be painting black on there, which if I can get it in there, it'll cover up some of that. But his heel has no paint on it. If I can just get a wee bit, I'll be satisfied. I would say that that is probably enough. Let me see, I see one. Only me will see it, so I shouldn't worry about it, but I'm going to worry about it. Anyway, stop. I end up making more of a mess when I do that kind of fix. Oh wait, I see his toe is not, that is sort of visible. I'm using this red a lot. I'll be buying more of this one soon. Well, not soon. Wow. Okay. Enough red. Ugh. I'm definitely gonna have to do some shading to make this more interesting for me. And I think I don't know, orange is not so, but it's kind of a golden orange. I thought that one would be close, but it might need to be a little bit of, maybe a wash. We'll bring it down. I do have some orange washes and stuff like that. Wow, very McDonald's. And see how shiny his face is? I feel that's because it's a lot of medium, but I'm confused. This one could be pretty good. It's got a lot of shading here, this cape. The one thing about, you know, when the paint dries is you lose... Why is this not showing up? How crazy. Well, anyway, thanks for the follow. I don't know why this is not showing up, and... Let's see if it'll show up this time. Hey, not much is happening according to this now. It says it will be in real time. Activity from my stream. I don't believe it. So we use a thing called Stream Elements, which is cool. Hey, JP Cascade. No, that's 15 minutes ago. So I don't know. I think we've done those. Who knows? Anyway, I hope that... thanks for following. I've been messing around with using different color prime coats, so like purple with yellow zenithal. Yeah. I've done some of that, chat. Back before I did the pink, but not like I did a dusting of pink on an undercoat that I then put a yellow over because I wanted it to be brown. And I really liked that. I have not done that again. But I did it zenithal wise. I did not, I wanted it to be at the, well, actually that was not really zenithal. That was just putting it so that the bottom of the cape, the cloak, would be dirty looking. And that was awesome. I don't want to change it up too much. That's the other problem with this. So many minis. I don't want to change it up so much. Like, because, you know, I have the ones that I dry brushed that look pretty good, but they look different. So I'm not really certain I want to change too much for fear of them just being so drastically different looking. So this is, you know, I know I've been painting this stuff now for these CMON minis for almost 3 years, because I think it showed up in March. I didn't start painting until 2020. Oh my gosh! So yeah, we had it was. I don't think I got it till March. No, I feel like we did. Oh, maybe the base game. That's what it was. I think the base game came out. They released it early, and I think we bought one for Adam, and I started painting. Gosh, I don't know though. I started painting him in 2021 with Scott, because after Adam did the stream, I was like, oh yeah, that's how I want to do that stuff, because I wanted him to be bright and relatively simple to do. And I was impressed with his results on the zenithal. I had not done zenithal with the and I don't know why it didn't occur to me, but I hadn't done it with the contrast paints until after I saw Adam's thing on it, because he did during our virtual con in 2020. We had some streams. We were doing 24. It was amazing. We were doing 24 hours of content as best we could. So for folks that were around the globe, and it was awesome. So he painted that and did that for us, which was really fun and encouraged me. So I've been trying to just kind of say the same thing. I think it's a good idea. I think you can get some nice results, and it starts to get, number one, it gets you painting, and number two, you start to develop technique. Scott, who had painted a long time ago, he was painting with me for this for a while, and he got really good pretty quickly. Now he wasn't trying to develop too much technique, you know. I mean, he had some standard acrylics as well, so he used them. He was a little bit more liberal with them than I was. I was trying to do everything I could with standard, not standard acrylics, with the contrast paints, except for white, and then I ended up using some gold and silver. But you know, there are supposedly, I need to buy them. Supposedly, Army Painter's new speed paint metallics are pretty great. So I will try those and see. My biggest problem with most speed paints is they are too thick. They used to be, in my opinion, I don't, this is from memory, they used to be better, they'd flow better. I did not use anything like thinners or flow improvers. I used flow improvers on paints back then, because I've used flow improvers for ages. Yeah, look how much brighter that is going to be. Well, it's not completely dry, but yeah, they're similar. Similar in their McDonald's-ness. We did watch some of the What Ifs last night, season 2. We had not watched them. I didn't realize they'd been out since 2023. And that was kind of interesting. Still a lot of the folk coming in and doing the original actors doing the voices, which is cool. Thanks, Big's Rip. Hey, Elle. Yeah, I really think I started in 2021 on these. I might have started doing some of them, Elle. Definitely check out Elle's stuff, especially her Instagram. She's great. She streams as well. Really great painter. I mean, I knew I was buying these minis. I backed the Kickstarter to paint them. I really loved the minis. I thought they were super fun. Let me get back to that photo. But I thought they would be a lot of fun, and they are great. Come on, focus. They are great. And I think they're good for people, as I've said many times, I think they're good for people to just get started to paint minis. You can get the box is, I think, was $16 the other day on Amazon for the very first one that has, you know, like Captain America and Iron Man and Ant-Man and stuff like that, Ultron. You know, you get 10 minis, and they're really nice. They're not, you know, any of these it's weird, like, you know, because I think GW stuff is mass-produced as well, but the plastic is different on these. I definitely prefer the harder plastic of the GW stuff and those types of model kits. Now you're putting those together, but if you are patient, you can go in. I usually clean these up with an X-Acto, which is riskier. I also have a newer version of these. This is an older version of a mold line scraper. This works too, and files. They sure are. I love painting this game with your son. That's awesome. I wish, you know, that Nikki would paint with me. She's a good, talented artist. And we painted when we were, gosh, maybe before we even married. And we painted some GW stuff. She was into Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings. And it was fun. I mean, you know, that was all basically when we were painting with our friends too. So I miss painting with others. It was really, you know, encouraging, and we'd learn things. One of our friends was truly a great painter. He was very, very good at wet blending and stuff like that. It was just, I was so jealous. I couldn't get it. And he wasn't, it's not like he wouldn't tell you how to do it, but he was not super forthcoming with how everything was done. I like to share because I don't, you know, I want everybody's quality to go up. But yeah, I have, you know, another 100 and something minis coming, I imagine, I think, from the new Multiverse one. And I was not going to get that one either, but like there was the full thing. After the first one, I'm like, I love it. And then when it came to the X-Men one, I was going to buy like the Deadpool one, the main box and Deadpool. And then you would get, backing something like that, you would get all of the stretch goals. And you know, stretch goals are the more like this character, you know, they're not as mainstream necessarily, but you know, Iron Man wasn't mainstream at one point. And I thought, oh, that'd be enough. And then I ended up just getting everything. Gare, Warhammer Old World would be a good thing to get back into it. Get her back into it. Maybe. I mean, I looked at them, Gare. I was very, you know, the problem is I think it's $290 for that set. Because you know those are great. I looked at the we were at Common Ground, which is in Dallas, or I was at Common Ground. Nikki did not come to Dallas with me the last time, and I was looking at that set, and I'm like, oh wow, she just has way more hobbies now than she used to. That's the thing. She's constantly doing a lot of crochet and things like that, which is cool. I love that she's enjoying that. It'd be fun if she'd paint along with me, because she's good. I don't know how, you know, I felt she was better than me initially, but I painted a lot more than she has for sure. But the scale of these minis really make them friendly to people, especially to get started. I think it's worth, if you have any interest, it's a good. Again, they all have, the funny thing is they all have characters that you're like, what? For example, in the first box they had Taskmaster, and that was because that character was going to be in Black Widow. But they had Ultron, which is cool, and they have Kraven in that one? You know, so they had some interesting villains. Gosh, was Kraven in that? I think so. Oh, they had Magneto in the X-Men set, which is great. His is one of my favorite minis I've done. Let me see here. Here's Magneto. I really like this one. I like everything about it. The beams of steel, you know, the girders and all that stuff. It's just really cool. And he turned out pretty good. I have to paint that one again, so I will probably, oof, I got some red here. I can fix that though. I will probably make it a little brighter. I mean, you know, they're comic book characters, right? I feel like ooh, I did not paint that yellow. I also don't have that cape done. Well, let me clean that brush so it's don't make a big too mess. Have you ever tried Marvel Crisis Protocol? I have not played the game, Michael. I have it. I have the second box set of it, the one that came out last year. I really want to try it out. I think I bought it in December, but I'd like to try it out. I mean, it's more of a tactical miniatures game, I think. I know this is not a tactical miniatures game. These are just pawns, kind of silly. And the minis are more human proportion, not chibi. But I do want to paint them. I also have Star Wars Shatterpoint. I've been watching. I hasn't been doing it lately, but I watched Wapelius on Twitch paint them, and he paints with oil paints, which I've used oil paints. I painted oil paintings, but I've never done them on minis. And I'm intrigued, but you know, he mixes his own colors with like linseed oil and pigment. And I don't know that I have the patience for that. I also, you know, mostly, you know, you get your joy from different stuff. I mostly just want to sit down and paint. So I do my best to use mostly standard stuff. I don't mind mixing paints at all. I you know, mixing colors. So I haven't even actually opened the box yet for the Crisis Protocol or Shatterpoint. Anyway, I was saying, Wapelius paints that stuff. He is so good. His wife was a talented painter too. She passed recently. Or is it his sister? I think it's his sister. I don't know why I said wife. I'm pretty darn certain it's his sister. But he does a lot of commission painting. I'm doing these as a favor, the extra ones. Extra. I'm hoping that he didn't back the new campaign. But it's so much more fun to play these games with the painted minis. Any game is much more fun with painted minis. Oh, once again, his calf. And I still have his arms to do. Since this is not mixed, I will probably do it later. I think we're getting close to the end time. It's actually past the end time, but I'm going to go a little bit longer. That's okay, it's white. It will be blue. Oh my gosh. Right on there. I have too many minis to get painted. Me too. Mansion Madness and Blood Rage. Wow. Those are, I was so close at BGG Con. Somebody was selling the if not everything, almost everything from Ankh. And again, those are kind of Tomb Kings kind of things. I wanted them so badly, but I'm got to be realistic. I don't think I'm ever going to finish all the miniatures I do have. So I have to really hunker down and try to get as much as I can done. Okay. That's pretty good. It's that blue's in there. It's going to be tough. I see I got some on there. So there the cape is dry. The brighter highlights are nice. So I can do that. I can make that happen with some a little bit of paint on there. Let's do that later. I do want to try that though, because I don't know, man. It's very McDonald's. Yeah, the collecting mostly out of the way, time to paint for most. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I do love to paint minis, and I definitely would love to paint with a group again too. I mean, it was so much fun. And I liked learning from others. Wow, I'm trying to scroll. There's a, but yeah, I can't, I have to be good. Oh, this is terrible. I definitely want the blonde to be different than this. It can't be yellow. I did, she's not in here. I did Captain Marvel's hair kind of, it's not hair, right? Well, whatever it is, she has the mohawk when she's wearing that helmet. Let me just paint a little black. I'm going to pause on this one. And I want to paint some of the black just to see how this is going to look. I usually paint, this looks gray, so I'm going to paint it with Basilicon Gray. I mean, generally black is never solid black in real world. Wow, is that the color? No, that's the wrong one. That is Black Templar. So you can see this has a lot of pigment in it, and this is the one that I spilled, and there's no pigment. I don't understand what happened. I mean, it spilled out, like the bulk of it, I guess. But yeah, these are really killer. And, inexpensive. You can't get everything easily. Now, the campaigns so far have included you could get all the original stuff, which is cool if you want it. I almost bought them, like what a crazy person. I almost bought the 2 boxes of stretch goals because those are the ones you're never going to get in a game. Well, who knows? Can't say never. But yeah, light brown then is yellow. Absolutely. Shouldn't, I mean, when you paint hair, it shouldn't be yellow. blonde hair, because you know the way your hair is, highlights work on your hair. It changes it so it's, you know, from a brown to a golden to a brown or whatever. Plus, it transmits light, right? So your hair, not fiber optics, but it moves it along. It's like a crown or a halo kind of effect kind of thing going on in there too. So, I don't know. I think it's just different, right? And this is small, and it doesn't have any strands or anything like that. So it won't be as awesome as it could be, like you could do. Huh. So this is raw. This is the full-on. See, now this is the transparent thing I was talking about. You can see the red underneath there. Now I will put another coat of this on here. I'd prefer not to get it. Now this is almost too gray. Interesting. Maybe because it's got so much of an undercoat. I really got to work on his face. I'm not happy with the... Oh wow, I got some red on the skull. Skulls is... I like that the little eagle on his staff is very chibi looking. They go all in on the chibi thing. Nick Murphy was not into the chibi thing, and then he ended up buying in. He's got some of the stuff, and he was going to paint they were going to do a video that would have sounded like a lot of fun, but I don't know what happened with it. Others had done what they were going to do, but what he was going to do, but they should have done it anyway. But yeah, he's into Warhammer. He was painting Tyranids. I don't know if this is helping. Their buns are pretty funny on these minis. Yeah, it definitely is a neat style. Biggs is saying that the chibi is an interesting style, but it does clash. It is very different. Like you look at, I mean, I definitely want to look at. I need to actually open the boxes. They're kind of tucked away because of the holidays, and so I didn't look at them. They're not added to our. They might be added to our collection, but they're not really added to our collection. So I use BGG's collection tools to first of all show that we own it, so I don't buy things again. I don't have that happen too often, but I've had it happen. And then we move them into the actual physical collection, and we put the location. We have too many games, far too many games, and so we have to. We have to say where it's at, because I have spent too much time looking for games, like where did we put it, and I don't like dealing with that. 20 minutes of that is just insane. So now we have them organized and we know where things are at. We have shelves and they've got stickers to say what shelf it is, but you still run into occasionally where you don't know where it's at. But like, we don't actually have where it is on a shelf. The shelves are pretty big, but we have 5 levels for each shelf. We use those. They used to be Gorilla Racks, but they're now, don't remember the brand name. Actually, during the pandemic, we needed another shelf, and everybody else was doing the same thing, and so they didn't have any. We were buying them at Costco. So I tried to buy them online, couldn't get them. Basically, they were like only available from Costco. And so they weren't done. They were still available. They were listed as they're back in stock now, but we ended up buying another brand, which was from Home Depot. It was not as good. But anyway, we have them all. Each shelf is a number, and then each rack is a number, and then each shelf is a letter. And it does a pretty great job. Yeah, I like the black and the red, but I mean, I've been doing Spider-Man. It's kind of like one of the other things about these, that I don't want to change the colors so that they're not recognizable from the comic stuff. I don't have them. I need to buy the book. I keep meaning to. There's like a visual encyclopedia of all the Marvel characters. And they're different. They're not going to look looking for games in all the wrong places. That is true. They're not going to be I don't know. It's just too much. Every time I start to think about it, it's just so many games. And part of what happens because of game night is we only end up playing a game once most of the time. And so ultimately, even though I think, because I'm like, oh, I like that game, I'd like to play that game again. I think it's a bad idea to even think that you're going to be able to do that, because it's hard. I really need to do something about the face. I'm just not happy. I mean, there's not enough. I didn't put enough. I just basically put one coat, but I think it's too dark. So I probably will need to paint the face white. Oops, you can't see. I'll probably need to paint the face white and then put a new, the downer is it won't, well, it's okay. The face can be just a standard contrast style thing. But I will probably do a little bit more with the cape. Ugh, the yellow and red just don't work for me. Maybe I need to make it a little more orangey as the shadow. So what they have is like a bit of a shadow that comes around here, and then it's bright on this end, even though this isn't as bright as this one. It is crazy how different they are. Hey, there's a bunch of stuff I didn't touch right there. I need to paint that. How did I not see that? Very clear. Or maybe I touched it. That part might have been touched, but the other part looks like I just missed it. You don't want to touch contrast paints when they're drying. You can see right here, if it's a little spot where I tore away the membrane of the drying paint. I can usually fix that with a little bit of dabbing it on, and you know, again, these are not, the contrast element is not really working on these. There's some, because this is a not completely opaque paint. It looks pretty good on his torso. If I paint some edge highlights or something, that'll probably help too. Anyway, I am done for today. Well, for now. I may come back out and paint a little bit more. I am very hungry. I'm hearing my stomach growl, so I know that it's time to eat. Let's put that back. I do want to see if that would be the hair. Nasdaq yellow. That might be the good on the base coat. But you kind of have to go backwards. So what I would need to do is put on a lighter color. It's never yellow though, right? Blonde hair is never yellow. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to handle that. Oh goodness. I am freezing out here. Let me switch. We will be back. We will be back on Thursday. Let me change these glasses out. With a game stream. I don't know what we're going to play yet. Nikki will figure that out. We actually film this next weekend, I think, so I'm excited about that. And but yeah, we're going to stream at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We will do something game related. Hopefully we'll know well before, so I can actually update the at boardgamegeek.com/live, the live streaming page where we have our schedules and others on. And then let's see what else. We'll be streaming Thursday and Tuesday, and then I won't be back till Thursday. A week from this Thursday, I'll be streaming again in the evening with some painting, and hopefully I will have made some progress on these, because I really do not like, I don't like the yellow and the red together. It is what the picture is, but it just doesn't, I mean, they're doing some shading and stuff like that, which is, oof, they popped off, which is what I need to do as well. So it's not quite working out. Again, the red I've used, let me see if I have one red cape here. Nah, you wouldn't be able to see it anyway. I do, I have Beta Ray Bill. Is it any better? Man, it's dusty. He needs to be put away. I'm sure that, I think things are sticking to the varnish. Wow, you cannot leave these out. That is the reality about any minis. Don't leave them out. They just collect dust. Something was stuck to him there. Anyway, it looks a little better where it's got a true contrast paint. You know, because people want colors like myself. You want more colors, and so they're putting them out, but they're not all paints work well as contrast, so who knows. Anyway, let's see if there's somebody we can raid. I'm on the wrong tab. Let's see here. I am on, this is the wrong thing. Oh, you know what? No, it needs to be on here. Why am I not seeing it? Let's go to the channel. What did I do? And plus it's been working. I've been watching it the whole time, which is silly. Waste bandwidth. Okay, let's see who we can raid. I know Ruel is not raiding, wow. So yeah, that's one of the things, is we have so many streamers that are all, no problem, thanks for joining in, Elle. We have so many people streaming at the same time. So we stream Thursday evenings, several people stream that night. So we're looking for more folks. You know, we have on our schedule, like Benita's on there, Benita Core, and Bonsai Nader's on there, and Benita does Mondays and Wednesdays, but we have a bunch of people streaming on Wednesday as well. So we have a couple busy days. So again, go to boardgamegeek.com/live. You can see ours and other schedules of streamers. And then also, if you want to support us, go to boardgamegeek.com/support. We have, you can support BGG and us, and if you mention, I don't know if they have it during the holidays, they have a thing where you can say why you support BGG, and it would be fun to see if people support us because of game night. I don't think we're going to be able to raid anybody. Let me see if there's possibly, this is not my I follow specific people. Let me go to another Twitch thing and just see if I can see if somebody else is streaming. Book of Nerds is live. Okay, let me look up Book of Nerds to see if I can get it to happen. I wonder if you can search. Hey, thanks for the follow. Wow, what is going on here? Thank you so much for the follow. I need to turn off my video. I think that is part of what's happening here. That is the wrong thing. Wow, once again, I'm on the wrong, oh, because I went to the thing to see. But let's see if we can get Book of Nerds going. Creator dashboard. So many things. They changed the interface a little while back, and it was not great. Yeah, we have like the people that we follow. Hey, there we go. Book of Nerds. Sweet. Super Mario RPG. It's not a video game, but let's do it. So we're going to go rate a video, somebody playing a video game, but have fun and say hello to everybody. Sorry for YouTube folks that you can't join in on that. And thanks for watching. Thanks, Biggs, for... I like to have mellow streams when I'm painting. It's good for me. Anyway, everybody take care. I'll talk to you later, and try to have a great week. Hopefully you can see you on Thursday. Bye, everybody. And YouTube people, I'm still here till I log us off, but I will say goodbye to everybody else as well.